Hey guys, Matt with CJ Off-Road. Today we've got my 2018 JL in the studio, and we're going to show you how to ditch these factory JL Rubicon high top fender flares. Now we actually swapped this set of high top fender flares from our good friend Cliff when he decided to put a set of bushwhackers on his. Now these are color matched to my Jeep, however they are plastic, they're flimsy, and they feel like they're going to break right off. Now our friends over at Fabtech reached out to us with their brand new set of fender flares, and we're going to show you how to get them installed on the rear of your Jeep as well as the front, so stay tuned and let's get started. So the first thing you need to do to get the factory flare removed is pull the push pins that are inside here. Now there's going to be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 of them. Use a trim panel removal tool, get these popped off, and then we can just yank the flare off of our Jeep. Once you have all of them off, we're going to employ Brendan's great ripping apart skills and get this flare off. Be careful with it. You might want to resell them online or something like that, or give them away to a buddy, so just be careful pulling them off. I don't think you broke a single clip.
Yeah!
Now the next step is you're going to grab your passenger side fender flare and you're going to set it up into place. And then we're going to put 2 bolts in a while. Put a nut on the back side, 1 on that one, and then we'll put 1 on this one. Now we're going to use a 1/2 inch wrench and a 1/2 inch ratchet to just get these snugged up, so that way we can mark our holes where we need to drill in the back and know that they're going to be lined up properly. So we have to mark this hole down here. You need to mark this hole, that way you can drill it when you pull the flare back off. The reason you tighten the top 2 is that way you know it's in the exact right location. So after you have it marked, let's pull it off. We'll drill this one and then also enlarge 3 of the other holes. Now you're gonna mark these holes that need to be extended. They gotta go to a 17/32. So I'm just gonna draw 2 little lines on each of them like that. And then there's one over here, let's mark that one. And then this one here also needs to get drilled out to a 17/32. And those 2 dots that we just made down there are from the hole that we need to drill and then mark out to a 17/32 as well. So we're gonna go around, drill these out to the right size, test fit them with the nutsert, drill this one, and then also get it to 17/32. Now with that hole drilled, we're gonna drill a 17/32 drill bit into there. It's always good to start with a pilot hole, that way you're not trying to drill out something really large. So now we'll drill this out to a 17/32, and I've got the riv nut here, that way as we're going we can stop at each point. You do not want to over drill these. It's okay if it's a little bit smaller, you can always make it a little bit bigger, but do not over drill these. You're not going to have a good time. I think this is a little bit tight, but it'll probably fit in there. I'm gonna try and smack it in with a hammer. All right, let's see what we can't do with this. And there it goes. It's in there now. Now we're gonna use a Smittybilt riv nut tool, available here at CJ's, to get that tightened down. Get the right end fitting, get this tightened up, and then we'll go ahead, squeeze both ends of the handle, get that riv nut fully seated into there. And then basically what we just did, we're gonna repeat on the other 3 holes we marked. All of them are gonna get drilled out to a 17/32. We'll put the riv nut in and then do the exact same process, so definitely just repeat that. I'm gonna just go through and do it now without showing it. So as you can see guys, we've got all 4 of them inserted with a nutsert on there. Now we're gonna take our flare. I'm still gonna put those top 2 bolts in, and then we're gonna go around and loosely install every bolt. Do not tighten anything down until you have all of them installed. You're gonna have to wiggle the flare a little bit to get it to fit the right way. Right there, we've got the top 2 on. What we're gonna do is go around and grab the 1/4 inch bolts, and then where you get the nutsert, all you gotta do is put a bolt with a washer underneath it. So those are super simple to do. We're gonna get all of them started here and then give them a final tighten down. Got some bolts and washers. Now we're gonna put 4 in each of the nutsert locations. I like to just get them all started. There's 1. The nice thing about these are is that Fabtech really designed this well so that they all fit, which I'm pretty amazed by, because normally when you put on something like this and you have to drill out to nut certs and all that, they don't start. But so far, that's 3 out of 4. We've got one last one, and hopefully I'm not biting my words. I think this last one here is even started. Let's give it a go with a little box wrench. Yeah, so we've got all of them started now. And what we can do is go around with our 1/2-inch ratchet, as well as our 1/2-inch box wrench here, and get them all tightened down. We're good to go. We're not running an inner fender liner, so if you guys are wondering where that is, all you've got to do is mark it and trim it for here, and then it actually comes with these little brackets where you can put it on here and reattach the fender liner. We've got something special in store for this, so we're not going to be installing that, but don't worry, in the instructions you can easily do it. You mark your fender flare, cut it, and then you've got all the brackets to do it, so don't worry if you want to do that. And once you got them all tightened up, the rear end is done. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the front end and get started. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the front, and just like the rear, we're gonna remove some of those push pins that hold this together. There's one right up front here. What you're gonna do, as Brendan just fixed me, there's 3, there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay guys, now we can rip this fender off. This is one of the fun parts. So Brendan, why don't you start up front and just start. Okay, and just like that. Woo! It's kind of off. We still gotta unplug the wiring connector back here if I can get to it. Pull that, push down, unplug, and then those cannot go in the trash because you can post them on Craigslist and sell them for a little bit. All right, now there's 4 things you have to cut off and or remove on your Jeep. So if you don't want to cut into it, I'd suggest stopping now. However, if you're fully committed like I am, you have to remove this one, and then these 2 standoffs here. Now, Fabtech says that you have to cut these off. However, I found on the other side, if you bend them down and just rock them back and forth, they will break off. These 2 you've got to cut and grind smoothly. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to show you a trick right here. All you got to do is push them down. Just like that, they're off. Now, Brendan, who loves cutting stuff, is gonna go and cut into Matt's Jeep because he likes cutting into other people's vehicles. So here we go. One thing you want to do when you're painting any vehicle, especially your brand new Jeep, is tape everything off before you go to paint it. Now, you're going to take a little bit more time to do this, but in the end, you're not going to have to worry about overspray and runs and all that fun stuff. So just make sure you tape it off well. And we're actually going to use some of the packaging that Fabtech sent to us to kind of tape it up and make it a little bit nicer. Okay guys, now that that's painted, we took everything off, all the masking tape, and we're ready to mock up our front fender. The first thing we need to do is get it into place and held on by just 2 or 3 bolts. That way we can mark the front location for the nut cert needs to be drilled out. We're gonna go ahead and do that now. All right guys, so as you can see, we have it put up into place here. I'm gonna go ahead and grab 2 bolts and 2 nuts and go ahead and put them on and just get them loosely snugged up, and then we're gonna push the front end down and mark it where it needs to go. Okay, so instead of getting those tightened up, I'm gonna actually just use Brendan here to hold it on and make it a little bit quicker. We're gonna push this down, line the top hole up to where we go, and then I'm gonna give a decent amount of pressure on this lower section. And mark it right in the center. Now we're gonna have to drill that out, put a nut cert on, and then we can throw this whole thing on. So as you can see, we painted it all up nicely. I've got the red dot right here. I'm gonna go ahead and mark this right in the center of it. We're gonna drill it out with a pilot hole just like we did behind. Now we can use a step bit and put in our nutsert. Now for the last nutsert, make sure you get all the bolts in and then go ahead and tighten them all up. All right guys, so as you can see here, we've got all the bolts tightened up. That was the last step that you need to do before you can put the lighting on. Go around and just get everything tightened up using the correct socket and or Allen key. They're gonna get nice and tight up to a 17 foot-pound torque spec on all the hardware. And as you go around, just be cognizant that you'll probably have to come back and tighten other ones up. Say I tighten these top two up. When I go back, tighten all the other ones up, it might suck it in a little bit more, and then I might have to come back and tighten that one up. So we did all that. Then the next thing you want to do before you can finish up the install is install the included front daytime running light as well as side marker light. This one is pretty self-explanatory. You slide this into the bracket and install one screw on the side. It's a super tiny screw, so you might have to get out like a small Allen key set and get that installed. We didn't show it here because it really is hard to see. You basically just slide the Allen key right through the side marker before this is in, get that tightened up, and then what you do is run the wiring back to the factory connection here. It's plug and play, it goes right in, you just run it back, plug it right in there. I just ran it along, put a couple zip ties on there, and now everything works. That's exactly how to get the front fenders and rear fenders installed in your 2018 to 19 JL Wrangler. If you have any questions, be sure to drop it below, and if you're interested in buying these parts, be sure to stop by at cjponyparts.com. Hope you enjoyed that video. To stay up to date on our CJ Off-Road videos, make sure to subscribe up top here, and for any other installs, make sure to click the link right above.